G'day YouTube, Turbo Tristan here. In today's episode, we will be fitting up the front bar finally. I've already gone ahead and stuck on the front lip. In the early to late 90s, Honda had some amazing technology with Bluetooth sway bars. We're actually going to change that and go old school. We're going to put some sway bars on the car, front and rear set. I'll tell you what they're off, how to get some, and how they're going to help you in just a moment. And then we're also going to finish up getting the car bolted together because tomorrow it's going to get its exhaust. Well, if you own a base model Honda Civic or even a second tier, anything that's not a twin cam or a high model, you're not going to have any sway bars on the car. Sway bars go underneath the car. They connect both wheels together so that it can even out the suspension travel, more so the body roll. If you go around a corner, all of the weight shifts to one side and then all of the weight of the car goes onto one side or one corner of the vehicle and pushes down on one coilover or one spring or shock. So if you have a sway bar, it actually connects underneath the car to the lower control arms. Both sides, left and right, they run under the car, and it actually helps distribute the weight evenly from left to right on the car. So even though you're going around a corner, all of your weight tips over, it actually helps keep the car from rolling too much. So putting some of the weight back on the other wheel, giving you a bit more grip and making the car sit flatter in the corners, rather than rolling over when you go around a corner. So that's why they're called a roll bar or anti-roll bar. Stops the car from rolling around in corners. Now these ones are standard ones. The rear one I'm going to fit up is from an EK4 and the front one is from an EK4 or an EK1 sedan. Now they come standard on those cars and they're a fantastic upgrade to get the car sitting nice and flat through the corners. We can't put all of the weight of the car on the tires and on the coilovers and suspension because the top of the car is still going to roll around the corners. So this will help even that out. I'm going to take some measurements, tell you how thick they are, and then we'll compare those with a quick Google search to an EK9 Type R or something like that. We'll see what the difference is and what you're getting. These are some really cheap upgrades. You can get them off Marketplace or you can get them at your local wrecker. I got the front one from a wrecker and I got the rear one from my good friend Voda, who you would have seen in the last video with a K-swap silver sedan with a Harlequin engine bay. Whew, still sexy, I still have dreams about that car. So nice. So thanks very much, Voda. We are no longer going to have Bluetooth sway bars, we're going to have actual sway bars. So I'm going to get the car inside, up on the hoist. We'll fit those because we need those on there now because the exhaust is getting done tomorrow and we want to make sure that the exhaust shop keeps enough room to clear everything. I've made that mistake on my sedan. I put white line sway bars, which is quite a big upgrade on my car. And when I fitted those sway bars, I already had a 2.5-inch exhaust on my car. And the exhaust shop made that as smooth and straight as possible, meaning they didn't have to go up and over a sway bar. So we're going to put those on now so that the exhaust shop can make the exhaust to fit around the sway bars. So we're going to start with the rear sway bar. That one I feel is going to be the easiest, so we'll start there. We need to fit up some brackets here, which I got off Voda, and we're going to mount the sway bar here and here. And then we're going to pick up off of these points here. Now, these are actually engraved soft, medium, and hard. So we'll just set everything up in the middle. We don't want it too crazy. And this is what I mean about the exhaust in the road. Now, this is the factory one. The bar's going to come across here and sort of be in this area. And if you're an exhaust shop, you just shoot that straight through there, but we need to make sure that they put the exhaust right up here to give us plenty of suspension travel. Man, it's so windy today. It's nice and warm. I'm wearing a t-shirt, but it's just windy as. So this is the rear sway bar down here. This one is off an EK4. Now I've already measured it. It's 16 millimeters in diameter. I checked that over with a Type R one. The Type Rs are 22 millimeters, so big upgrade compared to the Bluetooth one that we have on there at the moment, but still nowhere near a Type R. But this is definitely going to help out. Not going to be too aggressive, still nice and smooth. What we need to do is put the bushes on, put these brackets on, bolt it up, and then bolt this one through the middle hole so it's on medium stiffness. We could always put it on the hard one so it does give us a bit more of an aggressive ride, but we can tune that in later. If it's too soft and I can't notice it, I'll put it on hard. The back sway bars on, a little bit of a rookie mistake. I usually fit up aftermarket sway bars that have brackets and things that are designed to go right here, whereas this one has a bracket for a bracket. So that was interesting. I didn't know what those were for. I'm glad Voda gave them to me because I was able to figure it out and use them. So that's attached, it's on, it's all rattled up tight. This will help out a lot. One issue that I am having is these fat alloy arms actually mean that you don't get much thread through here. So I've had to turn these flange nuts around backwards, and I've probably got about 3 threads on each to get that tight. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. It doesn't look the best, but it's the same on both sides. Eventually, if I was keeping this, I'd probably just change these out with some aftermarket ones with some longer bolts. That way everything's all sweet, but that's away from the suspension. It's going to make it tight for the exhaust. If you have a look over here, the exhaust is going to come up through here and pass through this area. I'll grab the cannon now and dummy it up and see what it's going to look like. So if we end up going with this, that's going to have to go just there. Pretty tight as far as the bends go, but I'm sure the guys at the exhaust shop will know what to do. Slap that on there like that. As cool as this isn't my first choice of exhaust style to put on this car. I'd probably like to put a big oval in here with just a regular tip. I think these are probably being done to death and a bit too ricey for me, says the guy with the fluoro stuff all over his car, but I don't know. I like the normal mufflers. They muffle a bit more. It's a better look to me, but we're going to stick this on because we have it and it was free. So we're going to use it and abuse it. Over to the front sway bar now. This one is a lot more tricky. It actually goes this way and sort of up and over the exhaust. So I'm going to have to remove the exhaust, then it sort of feeds through here. It's a bit tricky, but we'll get there. Chuck it on the time lapse, you'll figure it out. So according to the internet, the JDM Type R Honda Civic EK9 runs a 24mm sway bar. I think they're being generous. I measured this one at 23. I can't see them developing a whole new design of sway bar for 1mm, maybe 5, maybe 4, maybe 3, but not 1. So I'm calling it, this is a JDM Type R front sway bar. So here we are, front strut brace is installed. Now you will need to upgrade your lower control arms if you have a base model Civic. They do not come with this little tab just here with this little eyelet that can bolt onto. The holes in the chassis, they're already there. Everything else is ready to go, but you must have EK4 or EK sedan front lower control arms to fit this mod, or if you're doing it on an EG, you're going to need the equivalent, so EG6 or EG sedan VTIR, something like that, lower control arms with the little eyelet. So here we are underneath, looking good. Now you can see that tucks right up there, well out of the way. One thing I forgot since last time I replaced sway bars was you need to drop the gear selector rods. I knew about the exhaust, I forgot about the gear selector rods. I thought they sort of went around that, but yeah, just 112mm here and then undo at the bottom of the shifter, and they both sort of fall one way each. But that's all cool, we've got that on. Now, if you were doing this mod seriously, you would upgrade the size of the sway bars, but like I said at the beginning of the video, we had Bluetooth sway bars. Now we have actual sway bars front and rear, and they look amazing. There's those Max Peating Rods blue coilovers. Now, before anyone gets upset, I did do a complete full install video at how to put sway bars on your Honda Civic. There is a full video, 20 minutes long, step by step on how to do everything. I'm doing it on the ground, in the cold, in my garage, much like most of you guys will. So it's a real, true how to do it. So check that video out. At the end of this video, there'll be a recommended video. I'll make sure it's fitting up the sway bars video. Really good. That one was actually shared by Whiteline. I put in some of their sway bars and they loved it, so they shared my video, which was awesome. So next thing on the list is we're gonna put the wheels back on. We're gonna put some black wheel nuts on there, which will look sick. One of the guys that subscribes to the channel, Lost Cause is his name. That's with a K. Really cool dude. Comments on most of my stuff. So mate, to answer your question, I promised you the next time I was in the garage and I had the wheels off, I'll tell you the offset of these. They're 17 inches tall by 7.5 with a 42 offset. So there it is there. 7.5 by 17 plus 42. Now the tyre size, 205 40R 17. They fit, no scrubbing, plenty of space, plenty of room, clears the massive brakes. So that's why I went with them. Everything on them is perfect. So you wanted to know the specs, there you go. Not such a lost cause anymore. Thanks for subscribing, mate. I really appreciate it, and all your comments, so keep it up. If anyone else has any questions, drop a comment below. I answer every single question, help out as much as I can. I've either already done a video on it or I'll do a video on it. So drop suggestions, comments, questions down below. So one other mod that I've done is put the front lip on. I painted it last night. You can see here I've began doing the cut and buff on the bumper, but this is just smooth as a baby's bum, straight off the can. But that's on, real simple to do. I've fitted a few of these on the channel. Just a matter of 2 screws there, and then 2 little brackets underneath, and then another 2 screws. So that's really simple. There's another video on how to do that. I just eyeballed it all and lined it up and sent it, so came out pretty good. All fits up nice. Next job on the list is putting the rocker cover back on and the painted cam gear cover. Now, I didn't like in all the videos, it really bugged me seeing this pasty white cam cover. Everything else is black, fluoro and silver on the car. So I'm going to swap that over, get it sorted. So the wheels are back on, black wheel nuts are on, rocker cover's done, everything's all sweet. What I've gone ahead and done is replace all of the hardware with stainless steel Allen key head bolts all over the place, done all of those, filled all the spare holes. So that's all sweet. Just chucked one up there because there was a spare spot for one. Replaced all of these, they're all changed now. So everything's all Allen key bolts where I could. You know, down there, here, there, all of the grounds, earth grounds are all changed. Silky smooth. I've gone ahead and replaced the spark plugs. Not sure when they were last changed, but they were definitely due. Here they are here. Pretty crusty. So they've all been replaced. If you do want to replace your spark plugs, super easy. I suggest you do it at least every 20, 30,000 kilometers for just a regular spark plug. If they're platinums, 80,000. If they're iridium, 100,000. You can just keep doing these every service if you like, if you want to keep up with your maintenance. Part number there is ZFR 5J-11. 11 is a 1.1 mil gap. You can still run these spark plugs if you're turbocharging your car. You'll just need to reduce that gap down to, instead of 1.1 millimeters, you make it around about 0.8 of a millimeter to start with, and let the tuner figure it out after that. So that's where we're at with the exhaust. I'll leave it here for now. Tomorrow, getting the exhaust done, and then I'll show you what it's like afterward. So you're about to see a clip of the exhaust all done. As you can see behind me, I went with the traditional muffler. Nothing fancy, nothing flash. We kept it to a budget. Just a 3-inch tip, 2 1/4, straight through exhaust. It is press bent, nice long hot dog resonator, high flow cat. This is where all the magic happens right here. And we've got the headers. So there you have it. The exhaust is done. All the breathing mods are done. I still want to get this car on a dyno and just see what power it makes. I think it'll be interesting for the internet to find out. I took the car for a drive for about half an hour today, got it up to speed, ran through all the gears, went over heaps and heaps of bumps, tested everything out. I can report back that the Max Peating Rod's Generation 6 coilovers, pretty good, no complaints. Ate up all the bumps just fine, handled all the corners fine. The sway bars made a really nice difference, handles really nice, like it should. It's not a go-kart, it's not a race car, but definitely massive improvement. So all these arms, sway bars, front and rear, new upper and lower control arms, bigger brakes. I spent some time bedding in the brakes, getting up to speed, slamming on the brakes, testing everything out. There is only one thing left to do that I haven't done yet before we go to the track, and that will be bleed the clutch slave cylinder right there. Felt a bit funny on the pedal, so I'll get my girlfriend to help me out bleeding that and just make sure it's all good. Put some fresh fluid in there. I use the Newell on extreme performance one, in the yellow bottle. So that's what I've got in all the brake lines. No air bubbles in there, the brakes are fine. A little bit of a spongy pedal, but that's probably because I'm used to having a honed brake booster delete. So it's just bang and you're on the pedals. Otherwise I've got the same brake set up in my car and it stops just fine. So yeah, we've got everything is sweet underneath the car. Last thing we need to do is fit the neons, which I can't wait to do, but I'm going to do that after the track day, just in case there's any off-track excursions and I don't want to rip anything out from underneath the car. So if we do have to go in the grass or in the sand, we're not going to rip off our brand new underglow neon kit. Otherwise, now it's over to setting up the dash, putting the tacho in there because we're going to need that at the track. So I'm going to put the car down, get the dash cluster out. I'll show you how to do that. I'll try and find my head mount so we can do it together. But we've got this dash with the tacho. It's got 234,000 kilometers. The dash in the car's got 227. So I'm going to try and keep that center, put this tacho in and get it all sorted. I do have a CRV cluster, which is exactly the same. It's just a different color, so it's probably not going to match. And that's got 260 kilometers on it. So we'll definitely be putting in the original one. It's got the lowest Ks and it's true to the car. So we're going to stick with that. Found the head mount. So I'm going to be using my old GoPro to film the removal. Good thing about having a spare dash is you know what screws you need to take out, and it's probably a lot easier for me to show you now while everything's out of the car before we go and take the old one out. So firstly, you'll need to remove the surround. There's 2 screws just up under there. Pretty easy to see them from the top. And then you have a couple of these sort of spring-loaded clips. Can be a bit scary, but you just have to send it and give them a yank. It should all pop out. Once that's good and that's out, then there'll be 4 more screws, 1, 2, 3, and 4. They're all just Phillips heads. And then what you'll need to do is unplug. It might even be 2 plugs, but it looks like it's split in half a few times. So there'll just be a few of those. Unplug all the plugs, pretty straightforward. So I'm going to get them both out. Then I'm going to take off these plastic covers, give them a good clean, pick whichever one is the best. And then I'll work out how to swap over the tacho and the fuel gauge and the temperature gauge into the other tacho, or if I can take the center out of the other one and put it in this one, whichever one works best. With the least amount of broken parts, we'll get one good one out of the 2. All else fails, we've got a backup third, but we won't. Real simple. I've done this swap a ton of times and I've pulled my old dash out a heap of times. While that's out, I'll be putting LED globes in there, so that'll be awesome. Much better visibility at night. Those old dull, you know, prehistoric globes, they're all going in the bin, and we're putting LEDs in there, so that'll be sick. All right, hopefully this all works just fine. We're going to do a quick light test now. Lights on. There we go, dash globes all good. Can't really see anything behind there, that's pretty dull. Probably doesn't help that I've got heaps of lights on, but we'll do a direct comparison, like for like. What I like to do first, pop down the steering wheel, take my little stumpy Phillips head. There we go. Now, that came out way too easy. Boom. Now I'm going to get my longer screwdriver because a little bit trickier to get down there with the stumpy. And if for some reason this doesn't work and you can't see what I'm doing, I'm going to cut it out. 1, 2, 3. Pop that out. Super easy. Now I'm going to take off this plastic. So it's just a matter of poking all these tabs down. Yep, it's all popping out. Boom, so that's out nice and clean. And then we have our bare dash. So to take this off, firstly I'm going to undo all of these screws on each end, and hopefully that all sort of pops out. I can't see anything else holding this together. Here's a test on what the lights look like without any covers on them, so you can see the difference. Nice white globes versus dirty yellows. One thing to double check is, see those little metal pins on the back of the globes? Just make sure they're in the same orientation as the globes that you took out of there. So what I always do is hold the fitting, and then I pull out the globe and I don't move it until I check which orientation these pins are. It's just a matter of folding them out of the road and into the right position, so they can't just turn around. You've got to just bend the pins back the opposite way. Super easy. All right, so we haven't missed a single globe. Probably overkill. Hopefully we don't get any random lights on now because we've put all these extra globes into places we shouldn't have, and you know, hopefully we haven't upset the course of history by changing those, but we've got globes in every single spare spot. All right, click that on, beauty. Then we need to put on this piece, make sure we put the one on that's not broken. And that just clicks into place. Perfect. Plug in the light. All right, so that's ready to assemble in. Right kilometers, everything's good to go. Well, there we go. We have the gauges on now. We can see what we're revving to. So that all works. Weirdly though, I do have a battery light on now, which is weird because the battery is fine on this car. If anyone can tell me what that means, drop a comment below. But battery's fine. Starts up, cold start. Hadn't been started for weeks, starts up first go. So don't know what that's about. Really unsure. Everything else is sweet. The back tailgate's open. We do need to put some fuel in it. And handbrake's up. I don't have my seatbelt on. Everything else is sweet. Well, we're getting very, very close to the end of this project. It will be for sale soon, so start making inquiries. There is a track day on the 27th of November at Sandown, which is where this is going. We're going to test it out, put it through its paces. I'm going to try and get a dyno run of the car, make sure everything is all sweet, healthy, and see how much power we made with all of those breathing mods. So we got a lot done in this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't worry about that little red car out in the car park. You're going to see that very soon. In the future, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I am really, really trying very, very hard to get to 10,000 subscribers before the end of 2021. So please help me get there. We're not far. We're 8,100 thereabouts. So it would mean a ton if you guys help me out with subscription, likes. There's still around 80% of you guys aren't subscribed, so help a brother out, help a channel grow. I want to be doing this full time, happy to help people out, take on jobs, work in the shed. I'd rather be doing that than anything else really. So don't forget, spool up, bring the boost, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.